If we take a contemplative look around the world and gather enough data to survey the types of cats spread across the globe, we'll find many species, large and small, tame and deadly. But if we look to identify the most ferocious and powerful types, we'll find, in certain regions, cats known for their skill, dominance, and ferocity. In the Americas, we find cougars and jaguars. In Africa, there are lions and leopards, while in Asia, tigers and leopards dominate. But when you turn your gaze to Australia, you won't find any big cats there. For several reasons we'll explore in this exciting episode, where we'll imagine the presence of one of the most feared felines among its kind, one of the most capable predators on the planet, the lion. If we assume its presence, we'll be faced with several crucial questions about life across the isolated continent, such as, would the presence of lions destroy Australia's entire ecosystem? How would lions adapt to a new world? And what would it mean for all the native species already living there? Let's begin by learning about the land known as Australia. As mentioned, there are no big cats there. No tigers, no lions, no jaguars, no leopards, no snow leopards, no cheetahs, no cougars, not even lynxes, caracals, or ocelots. There were reports of American soldiers arriving in Australia during World War II who brought cougars and leopards as companion animals. Perhaps some of these cats were released into the wild, but if so, their numbers were clearly limited. There's no trace of them today. In fact, Australia is home to some of the most unique species in the world, thanks to its isolation from other continents. It's famously known as the land of kangaroos, wallabies, wombats, and koalas, and rightly so. It also hosts many unique mammals and is the only place on Earth that contains all three kinds of mammals: placentals, monotremes, and marsupials. Among its predators is the dingo, the continent's only native wild dog. There are dozens of giant venomous snakes and spiders. If we told you the actual number, it might send chills down your spine. And let's not forget, Australia is full of deadly crocodiles. Both freshwater and saltwater species live here. These crocodiles dominate the northern regions of Australia, which are considered extremely dangerous. The further south you go, the less common they become due to the cooler climate. Crocodiles prefer to stay near warm water. Australia lies close to the equator. Its northern parts sit around 9 degrees south, stretching to about 44 degrees south, where the weather becomes colder. That's why Australia has such a diverse landscape: tropical rainforests, mountain ranges, remote inland areas, and deserts in the semi-arid interior. The outback is sparsely populated, with just about 3.4 people per square kilometer, equivalent to around 0.6 people per square mile. So, don't expect to see more than 7 people in every square mile of those vast areas. That's why most of Australia's population lives along the coast or nearby, where conditions are more suitable for humans. So now that we've understood the nature and climate of this continent, we must consider how to gather some lions and prepare to transport them. Let's head out on an exciting journey to Africa to obtain some of these lions. Africa shares many similarities with Australia. One of them is the diversity of habitats, including tropical rainforests, mountain regions, and deserts. Northern Australia lies near the equator, while the equator cuts through Central Africa. When we examine where lions live, we find they mainly inhabit sub-Saharan Africa, avoiding the vast desert. But the areas they do occupy are not tropical rainforests. Lions live in savannas, grasslands, and even dry plains, so they are well adapted to dry heat. They can also be found in mountainous areas, living at elevations up to 3,600 meters on Mount Elgon, along the Uganda-Kenya border, and even near the snow line of Mount Kenya. Therefore, in Australia, lions would likely avoid dense rainforests since they're not their preferred habitat. But they would thrive in the drier regions. The areas lions naturally inhabit rarely dip below 20 degrees Celsius, even in colder months, and they're accustomed to daytime temperatures between 26 degrees Celsius and 30 degrees Celsius. Due to these factors, lions prefer to stay near a permanent water source, but also require ample shade. They spend a lot of time in direct sunlight, so they need cover when necessary. They also prefer dense vegetation, like shrubs and tall grass, vital for hunting. Calling lions killers is no exaggeration. They must hunt to survive. Lions are large carnivores and need substantial meals. So how do you feed a predator that can weigh up to 225 kilograms? Lions prefer large-hoofed mammals, especially zebras, antelopes, gazelles, and buffaloes. These prey typically weigh between 225 and 900 kilograms. And lions don't usually eat alone. There's often a hungry pride to feed. A lion pride may consist of 6, 10, 15, or even more members. That's why they prefer larger prey for the whole group. However, if needed, lions can feed on smaller animals like warthogs, turtles, birds, rabbits, lizards, and mice. Usually, the females do most of the hunting, while males protect the pride and its territory. Lions must deal with rival predators trying to intrude and steal prey, such as hyenas, leopards, cheetahs, African wild dogs, and even other lions. But lions rarely struggle with these predators. They're larger and stronger than all of them. None of them can sneak up on an alert lion. And even if they manage to steal some food and flee, only a few escape the jaws of a killer lion. The only real threat to be wary of is the crocodile. Lions in Africa are very familiar with the thin-snouted West African crocodiles and the Nile crocodile. Nile crocodiles have terrifying bites, up to 2 tons of pressure per square inch. So lions have learned to approach water cautiously and leave quickly after drinking. Now that we've gathered enough information, let's assemble the lion group, say around 12 of them, and head toward Australia. We'll fly southeast across the Indian Ocean to deliver the pride safely. Upon landing, the lions begin to explore the new land. As they adapt, they discover many areas that resemble their native habitat, tropical rainforests they'd likely avoid, mountainous zones, open plains, and vast outback regions. All these regions are strikingly similar to the African savannas and grasslands. And since these areas are sparsely populated, that's perfect for the lions, just like much of the land they once ruled in Africa. So far, things are looking very good. As the lions explore more, they'll find water sources, cover for hunting, and shade to rest. Lions are already used to being apex predators, but they knew back in Africa that they had competition from other predators eager for prey and ready to steal kills. But in Australia, after surveying their surroundings, they'll realize there are no competing big cats, no hyenas, only dingoes, which are similar to African wild dogs. With competition reduced by about 25%, things just got a lot easier. As for crocodiles dominating the waters and sometimes venturing onto land, the lions will need to tread more carefully around these reptiles. Fortunately, they're already trained to avoid them. The real problem for lions lies in the scarcity of their favorite meals. Large hoofed mammals simply don't exist in Australia. The continent has been separated from the others for so long that many placental mammals never fully developed here. For this group of lions, their best options might be wallabies, wombats, koalas, birds, and lizards. But these are far smaller than the animals lions usually eat. They may feed one lion, but not a whole pride. That means they'll need to work harder to get meals, and not everyone will share. survival will belong to the fittest. There are some larger wild pigs, and of course, kangaroos. But kangaroos are a tricky case. Some are quite large, and they fight back. Literally, they punch. Lions may not enjoy hunting prey that resists, but they may have no choice and will eventually chase kangaroos too. Still, nothing compares to zebras or buffaloes for them. Over time, if the lion group continues adapting, thriving, and reproducing, African lions will remain larger than their Australian-born counterparts, who would shrink due to food scarcity. As for all the small marsupials, kangaroos, and wild pigs, they'll have to adapt to their new predator. They'll face a life-or-death struggle against a ruthless, ever-hungry beast. On the other hand, if the lions fail to adapt to the harsh conditions of Australia, their survival will hinge on food availability. If they struggle to find enough, they'll suffer great losses, brutal conflict, and hunger, ultimately leading to their extinction on the continent.